Hey guys, this is going to be hopefully a short video. What I got going on here is I turned a 1925 Ford Model T chopped roadster from AMT and did my best to turn that into my tea bucket. So what happened is my wife bought me a nice little airbrush kit for Christmas, and she also bought me this model kit because she thought it looked kind of like my real car, which is this. And so I decided if I'm going to build that, I'm going to try my best to make it look like my real car. And I'm not experienced, and this is like the second model car that I've done since I was a kid. Did this Corvette first. Corvette took me about a week. This one I spent pretty much every day for the last 7.5 weeks building, and this is what I ended up with. So this is just going to be just a quick little show off, and I'm going to do a more detailed video where I break down a little bit more what I did, how I did it. But I had to build a lot of this stuff from scratch using Apoxie Sculpt. Bought some styrene, bought another kit to borrow some parts from. But I took the small block engine from the Corvette, took the intake manifold from a 29 Roadster. Like I said, so I got my first airbrush, so I'm learning how to airbrush. I did these flames by hand, drew them by hand on some masking tape, slapped some masking tape on the body, airbrushed them, experimented with fading in the colors and stuff. I think it turned out pretty neat. Just going to show a few little details here. Borrowed the rear end and coilovers from the 29 Model A kit because they're much closer to my real one. This whole back area I sculpted with Apoxie Sculpt, trying to make it look more like my real one. I'm going to show off some little details. So, like, keep in mind I'm not very experienced, but so I'm proud of some of the little details that I tried out. So, like the little pins I made out of soldering iron, sculpted the satchel out of Apoxie Sculpt, and my camera does not want to focus. I'm so afraid I'm going to break something too because everything's delicate on here. The interior, and maybe I'll throw up a comparison video of my real car with this. Tried to get as many details as I could. My goal, like I said, was just trying to get it as close as I could to my real car. The whole dash I made from hand, sculpted all the gauges and stuff from hand, painted by hand. Got that little 8-ball shifter, sculpted that by hand. My little fire extinguisher sculpted by hand, and the e-brakes and all that. The whole windshield setup, I made that by hand, all of it. Styrene and some clear plastic. Put on the wood panels and stuff on the back. Wiring, did the firewall by hand with a little dipstick. Obviously did this distributor, made that by hand, and the spark plug wires, that's soldering wire that I wired in there. Sculpted the fuel lines, sculpted the fuel pump, radiator hoses, all that stuff made by hand. All these little flame effects, made those by hand. Those were a pain in the butt. They didn't really turn out perfect, but it was really hard to sculpt that small stuff. Ordered these wheels off of eBay and had to sand them down to size because they were the wrong size. Sculpted on disc brakes. Did some weathering and stuff, but I sculpted all that stuff in there. I sculpted, put on some friction shocks because that's what my real car has. Turn signals and stuff. Little emblem on mine, it's actually a V8, and I tried sculpting the 8 and it didn't come out very well, so I just got a V. I even sculpted got a little air filter in there inside the intake. Do the bottom real quick. Don't want this to take too long. I'm already rambling. So on the model, as it comes, there's no detail on the bottom, really, nothing at all. So I put all this in there, try to have representation of like my brakes and battery and some cables and wires going there. Got the e-brake and e-brake cables. I ran the brake lines going there, and I ran them to the back too, so there's brake lines going to the back. And some other little details here and there. Had to build these mounts from scratch and engine mounts from scratch, and the steering linkage, had to build all that. So on the front, I guess didn't show that. Had to build the, come on, focus. Yeah, I had to build all the little linkage and stuff. Built the steering column and the little turn knob, sculpted that. Anyway, that's what I got. I'm going to make another video going into more detail on that, of how I did what, but in the meantime, here's a shorter little slideshow, so enjoy. All right. See you guys next time.